This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Hello, folks. How you going? Did you enjoy your Australia Day? Did you have a good time? I had a bloody ball. I also had a bit of beer, so I thought it better than last night. We had the night off. A bloody great day had at the My Place Singleton event. Unfortunately, the big cricket game that we thought of far too late didn't eventuate between Newcastle and Singleton My Places, but that's all right. We have a plan, and next year, get your cricket teams ready, folks, because we have a plan. So there'll be a lot more coming on that, obviously, in the future. And I can tell you that Darren Bergworth and I have discussed this at great length this morning, both being ex-cricketers. And he played a lot more recently than me, can I tell you? And yes, we are going to start something up with that. It's going to be bloody great. I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll bring you up to speed with that, I suppose, as the time comes to hand. Good evening, Elizabeth. I'm not so gorgeous, but thank you for thinking so. Billy, thank you very much, mate, for your advice on my health. And thank you. Actually, a number of people have commented. They sort of say, oh, gee, Carl, sometimes you don't look too well. Yeah, well, look, I smoke. That's probably not a good thing. And I'm 57 years of age. So, you know, I don't look that good. I am overweight, but I am pretty healthy. In fact, fit as a mallee bull, as the old saying used to be. A doctor is quite surprised. Some time ago, well, not some time ago, a little while ago, I had to go and have a full checkup, full heart exam and all that sort of stuff, only because I felt it was about time that I do it, because I'd never really done it in my life and I should get a baseline. My blood pressure, perfect. Has been perfect all my life, got no problem with blood pressure. Except maybe when I get angry, and then I might get a bit red in the face. But I guess you've seen that from time to time. Then there are a few other bits and pieces that they did. I've had one of those heart examinations where they inject you with a dye, and then they do a whole thing of your heart. And my heart's all good. No problems with that. My kidneys, all good. I am a bit like a camel, but I've been a bit like a camel when it comes to piddling all my life. So I'm not too worried about any of that. Used to smoke 2 packets a day, Bill. Yeah, okay. Quit about 10 years ago. Smoking is not only naughty, it is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous when it comes to cost. And Cherie has pointed this out to me today, can I add, in a non-too subtle manner. I want to give up smoking. I'm not a Nicorette kind of person. I'm one of these people who wants to do it by brain power and not wean myself off this shit. And that has to be a mind thing. I've always believed that giving up smoking is a mind thing before it is a physical thing. I don't feel any, as far as I'm aware, physical addiction to nicotine. I have a compunction. I have triggers that make me reach for a cigarette, and unfortunately, more of them are happening. So, yeah, I can't afford to do this, and it has to stop. So it will stop. I'm going to make that undertaking. It will stop. 2023 will be the year that it stops. That will be my undertaking to you. Outside of that, no, I'm pretty healthy. I have very good medical history. The only time I ever go to hospital is something's broken or needs to be cut out of me. And I've broken a couple of things, knees mainly, and I've had a couple of things cut out of me. One in a very delicate place. It was a cyst in a place you don't want to get cysts. But anyway, I've had the experience of being rolled into a surgical theatre because I refused to have a general anaesthetic. They gave me an epidural, and I got to look at 2 Chinese doctors whose names I was never given, looking at me over the top of their masks and through their glasses, holding scalpels in their hands that they were about to take to my ball sack to cut a cyst out. And I've got to say, that was probably one of the more entertaining experiences that I've ever had. So, ladies, I know exactly what an epidural is like. Can I tell you the most uncomfortable part of that epidural was as it was wearing off and becoming aware of the fact that you needed to have a pee. That was a bit of a problem because having no control, trying to pee was very difficult, and I couldn't make my bladder work, couldn't make anything work. It was very difficult. And somebody approached me with a large hose and, a smile, some tuba greeting. Anyway, we didn't go down that path. That made me pee. It all went well. Have you ever noticed, guys, in the hospital, those things they give you to pee in hospital, this big metal or plastic sometimes. The metal ones are cold, but they have a hole on them like that, bloody huge hole on them. I mean, I don't know what horses they look after in hospitals that need one of those. Maybe they sort of makes one feel a bit inadequate at times. I'll just say, just a bit. Anyway, this is a little bit of a show tonight, folks, and I mean a little bit of a show because Chris and Bob are coming on tonight at 7:30. Now, it'll be one of those Rumble shows tonight. So the link is in the description of this video. If you want to go over to the Rumble channel, 7:30 is when we'll kick off there. That's 7:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. 6:30, that would be standard time. So go over to the Rumble channel. The link is in the description of this video. I'm sure that this video will probably get knocked off or muted in some way because I've mentioned the R word. I think they figured out that's why you might see it spelled a little funny in the description. Of course, I've also spelled a little funny Hugh Heffner. Apparently he wasn't. Viagra was a big thing in old Hugh's life, and we will need to investigate that a little bit more tonight. And apparently the boys have pictures. I'm not going there, but they will have pictures for us, and it'll be interesting to find out details. I'm looking at Chris. He's in the back room. No pictures, mate. No, it's all good. No pictures.
Can't find them. They're gone. They've been erased. Someone's taken them off my laptop, mate. They're all gone.
Really?
Yep. It's like the whole thing didn't even exist. The file is just completely taken, buddy.
Well, you've been infiltrated. God.
Oh, I know my laptop's definitely been hacked, mate. I've had some interesting things happen with it today, mate. Trust me.
Excellent. All right. Well, you go off, do what you got to do, get yourself sorted. 7:30. You and Bob. Can you send him the link? I've sent it to him.
I'll do, mate. Do it right now for you.
You're a legend. Cheers, mate. See you at 7:30.
Hi, buddy.
All right. That's Chris, Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under. And, we're going to talk a bit about Hugh Heffner, a bit about Playboy, a bit about a few other things. Bob's got a bit more he wants to talk about, from missions to Antarctica, I think, to how the financial system is going, and a few other little bits and pieces. So it is going to be an interesting Friday night free-for-all. And I have to say, these two are proving very popular. I get a lot of people asking for a Friday night free-for-all with these two. So, look, I'm happy to have them on. You want to have them on? I'll have them on. It's all good. They're a couple of great guys, and they do have some very interesting insights, can we say. Speaking of interesting insights, there is an awful lot going out at the moment. And in fact, if you watched the Rumble show the other night with John Wilson, we spoke about Cooker Watch. Well, Cooker came out today on the Ben Fordham 2GB radio show. I think Ben Fordham does breakfast on 2GB. So Cooker, a female, came out and tried to explain to Ben Fordham's audience on 2GB about sovereign citizens. So I listened to the interview, a bit over 10 minutes of it, I think, or a bit under 10 minutes of it. And the amount of misinformation, which I don't believe is being deliberate. I don't believe either Cooker or Ben Fordham are being deliberate in what they're saying. I believe they are totally ignorant and have done no research. And for that reason, what they are doing is spreading a narrative that is incorrect and building a projection of the movement that is 100% inaccurate to what it is. They are trying to take the minuscule moments, the dramatic moments, and trying to eke those out into something that it isn't. They are telling interesting stories about people going to jail because they didn't pay their mortgage. Now, look, I don't think anybody's ever gone to jail in the last 20 years for not paying their mortgage. Generally, what happens if you don't pay your mortgage, they kick you out of your house. They sell your house and make you liable for whatever shortfall there is. And they can make that a big shortfall if they want to, and quite often do. Now, if you fought them as they tried to throw you off the land, that might have put you in jail. But it wasn't the fact that you, lost your property that put you there. It was the fact you were fighting to keep it. The banks are responsible in great part for a lot of that. So, utter bastards. Anyway, that's something that's been emerging today. There's a lot more talk in mainstream media. So Ben Fordham's little interview, which I suppose you can find at 2gb.com, not accurate in any way, shape or form. I felt it incumbent upon me as a fellow professional broadcaster to send him an email, offer my services to try and explain where he was deficient in his statements. And I realise he doesn't understand the difference between sovereign citizen and sovereign citizen. I tried to clear that up for him today. Hopefully he'll do a little research over the weekend and figure out what a sovereign is and then figure out what a citizen is, and we won't hear him put those two words together again. I also pointed out to him that his owners, the owners of the radio network that he works for, are currently experiencing a 12-month tax-free rebate, a bonanza, a windfall. No tax for 12 months, just keep pushing the COVID line. So I suggested he better get his manager to get onto that, because that is a huge windfall for a network the size that he is working for, a huge multi-million-dollar windfall. I suggested he better get a part of that with his personal contract, because after all, he is in great part responsible for its success. I asked him if he really wanted to have a serious interview and wanted to talk about this. I could explain some of the common law principles that he seems to be struggling with, and maybe straighten out a few of the fallacies that he is propagating, because I believe in error. He just doesn't understand. I don't believe he's doing anything deliberately bad. I just believe he is ignorant. He hasn't done the research, and probably feels that anybody he gets on from our side of the argument is going to have to deliver a coherent, 100% understandable and, admissible argument in the 2 or 3 minutes he's likely to give us to talk. Because I don't think he'll give us the same time he gave Cooker. He seemed far too involved with her. So I've offered to him for him to come on this show and have a talk too. We'll see. Yeah, Billy, you're right. 2GB is owned by Channel 9. 2GB, 3AW, 4BC, 6PR in Perth. Majority shareholder is George Soros. 100%. You might also find that CBS, American CBS, own Channel 10 here in Australia. And Channel 7 is owned by Kerry Stokes, but Kerry Stokes is owned by the people who provide him programming, and they are the big networks out of the States. Look at who they're affiliated with, MSNBC and, all that sort of crap. So as much as we like to think our media here is mainstream media, it's not. It's fed from America. It's fed out of those big international newsrooms. Yes, we do have some local news here, absolutely. And that's all been infiltrated by left-educated bloody lunatics calling themselves journalists. They should just put themselves out as opinionists, but that's a whole other story. Not one for tonight. At any rate, the offer has gone out to Ben Fordham. If he would like to come on the Voice of Freedom and maybe have a discussion about this, or if he'd like to have me on his program, more than happy to come on and have a chat. I'm sure we can have a civilized dialogue in a professional manner, considering we're both professional broadcasters. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. So maybe you could send an email to Ben just in case he ignores mine. We will see whether or not he is at all interested in finding out about the other side. And if he is, wonderful. Love to have him in here at any time. I'd love to come on his show if that's what he wants. But either way, all I ask is that he does a little research and understand that the answers to the questions that he is saying, or the questions that need to be asked, the clarity that he needs to gain, can't be given in 2 or 3 minutes. To truly understand what's happened, you need to have an appreciation of the last 2,000 years of history, and maybe then some. And you need to have a much deeper appreciation of it than you currently have, Ben Fordham. So there's my offer. Get a hold of Ben Fordham at 2GB. Send him an email. There's a contact form on the 2gb.com website. Let him know the Voice of Freedom door is open if he would like to discuss sovereigns, citizens, common law, and what this movement is all about. Maybe a little public pressure. He might see that there are a few more of us out here interested in it. I would also like to see whether or not he's up for a pay rise, because I've got a sneaking suspicion he's sure up for one, given the huge windfall that media companies are going to get. Huge windfall. And just have a look at who owns them all. You know, it's now become very clear to me that while I was working in commercial radio in the last couple of years, particularly through the jab farce, it's become immensely clear to me why they cracked down on me so hard, why I wasn't allowed to say anything, and why they didn't argue when I said, I won't read your filth live commercials to send people off to go and get jabbed or get a stick shoved into their brain. Won't do it. So they didn't push that point. They just let me not do it, and they had somebody else do it, which was fine. But now it all falls into place. The odd occasion, and there was one occasion where I did a live very early in the morning from the studio. And unless you had ever been into that studio, you wouldn't know what studio it was. You'd have no idea. I did a little whirl around in the studio, and there was a logo up on the wall, but the camera blurred so fast you couldn't see it. Anyway, got into a lot of trouble for that because, you're working for us and you're not meant to be doing your stuff. And okay, righto, fair enough. Probably shouldn't have done it. I apologized, and we moved on. But they were very upset, and now I know why. It's because I might have damaged their tax-free payout that's coming their way. And the new owners of that company are going to be very happy about that, I'm sure. So yeah, that's just a small media company in this country. We have major players. We have the fifth, well, I think it is still the fifth, maybe even the fourth now, largest radio network in the world here. It's called Southern Cross Oz Stereo. Hit and Triple M are part of all of that, and every regional station they own. It's big business, folks. Can you imagine how much tax they pay every year? And now they're not paying a cent of it. And they also got about $15 million in funds out of the government. That'll be our money out of the government, while there are people still fucking homeless in Lismore. $15 million to the media companies to help them boost their revenue over that COVID period because, they had such a lost revenue. And we've got people sleeping in fucking tents in Lismore. Yeah, get your breakfast shows out now, Southern Cross Oz Stereo. Get your breakfast shows out now and start building houses in Lismore, in safe areas. It's all well and good to get on and do a 3-hour thing in the morning and raise a little bit of money for somebody who needs to send a kid off to Movie World for the day. There are people still homeless in Lismore after the engineered fucking flooding of last year. And new media companies are paying no fucking tax. And you're getting your revenue topped up to the tune of $15 or more million. It's fucking disgusting. I think I've probably said enough now to get me banned on this one. So, folks, we're going to go over to Project, it's on Project Matilda too, but it'll be on Rumble, the chat. The description is down in the link rather is down in the description. Wasn't going to talk about them tonight, but Jesus, I'm just livid that these peasant fucking radio networks who make millions, tens of millions of dollars and claim to be all about community are leaving people homeless in places like Lismore.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!